Giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Baal Shem, Yahweh Shai, Baal Shem, Rakakwadash. Shalom to the Lord's elect. And once again, it's another video. Hopefully you find this video edifying as well as exhorting to you brothers and sisters of the household of faith, the hopeful elect. Okay, so that being said, I'm not sure of the exact title I'm going to put on this video, but the subject matter has to do with Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, in particular the 68th verse, and how Vocab Malone, in his ignorance, says that that was fulfilled during the time of 70 A.D. So I was watching this video earlier this morning. This video here that was put up by Elder Pastor entitled Israel is Trending, the Whole World Knows About Us. And basically this is a video Elder Pastor is reacting to a video that Vocab Malone put up, in where he goes into the meeting that we GMS that had with Tucker Carlson, right? Tucker Carlson. I almost said Tariq Nasheed because I've been watching the video. It's premiering now. Elder Pastor did. Anyway, Tucker Carlson, right? And to be honest and fair, when Tucker Carlson came up, I had no idea who he was. You know, the brother from Vegas did a video, and he said we knew who Tucker Carlson was when he came up. Well, the one who knew was Elder Pastor. He's the one that knew. He didn't remember his name, but he said to Tucker Carlson, he said, "I know you. You one of those newscasters, right? You one of those guys, media guys." And Tucker Carlson played stupid, you know. Which that's what these devils do, you know. He came up. Tucker Carlson came up in a disingenuous manner. I was there. You clearly see me in the video, but I didn't know who he was. Now, had I known who he was, I probably would. Knowing me, I probably would have said, "I know you. You're Tucker Carlson." I didn't know. I had no idea, but Elder Pastor knew. Okay, and it was for Elder Pastor to give him that message, which is what we did. Beginning with Elder Pastor, we gave him the message of Israel. You know, the Israelites, the Edomites going into slavery. Even Elder Pastor, based on his look, Tucker Carlson look, he said, "Look, you, if you're an Edomite, you're going into slavery," and that's one of the main things that Tucker Carlson was concerned about, because he actually said, "Why am I going into slavery?" And you know, some of these so-called white people, when they find out what the Bible is really talking about, they lose it, man. They say, "Well, wait a minute, why it was my forefathers who did it." There's a scripture in the Apocrypha where it says the children shall complain of an ungodly father, because they're going to have to pay for the crimes of their ungodly father, and rightly so. Do you know why? Because they are their ungodly fathers. There's a little thing called reincarnation, which the majority of these Edomites don't understand how that works. But their top elites do. Case in point, the Rothschilds knew about reincarnation. That's why Mariam Shelbauer, he would only teach his sons the aspects of the banking business, because he knew that he would come back through his sons. Okay? So, let me stir my way back to the video. So what I'm going to do is play a little bit of this video here, done by Elder Pastor, and try to get to because we don't like to just say things, we like to prove it. Now, again, Vocab Malone believes that Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was fulfilled during the time of 70 A.D. with Titus Caesar, Vespasian Caesar, and Domitian Caesar, which is totally ridiculous, just on the word Egypt alone. Because when you read Deuteronomy 28:68, that Egypt that's located there, that's a dark saying for America. That's talking about America. That's not talking about the Egypt in the Middle East. Okay? And earlier today, the brother from England, shout out to that brother, my man, Elder Yawakanan, told you I'd never forget your name. I used to had a problem remembering your name, not anymore. Okay? Your name is fixed in my mind now. Elder Yawakanan, okay? And I've actually met him. I think I met him twice. Real cool brother, real cool. He reminds me of my elder brother, Victor. They kind of look a little alike. Anyway, he did a video where he went into the history. No doubt he was inspired by Elder Pastor's video. Probably this video here. He can confirm it on the comment board. He did a video going into the history of, because Vocab alone, thinking that he's slick, he went into the history of how slaves indeed were sold during the time of 70 A.D. Well, the big difference is they were not, like it says in Deuteronomy 28:68. Matter of fact, let's get Deuteronomy 28:68. I happen to be in Deuteronomy 28. Check that out. That's probably from the last video I did. Deuteronomy 28:68. Now he's saying that, well, let's deal with what the Bible says first before we go into what Vocab said. And the Lord shall bring thee again into Egypt, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So he's trying to say that was fulfilled in 70 A.D. And indeed, there was some slaves being sold, Israelite slaves being sold in 70 A.D., which Elder Yawachanan goes into that history. But they weren't brought into Egypt from Israel. They weren't brought into Egypt by ships. Okay? There was two, and we're going to go into that history because Elder Yawachanan goes into it. There was two main routes where the slaves were delivered into Egypt from Israel. And that would be if I remember correctly, I was watching it earlier when I was doing my workout. The Via Maris, which is Latin for by way of the sea, and the King's Highway. Those were two roadways. Don't let the term Via Maris confuse you. Via Maris is literally in Latin means by way of the sea. It was a highway, a roadway that followed the coast of the sea. Okay, and according to the research that Elder Yawachanan did, if I heard him correctly, the Via Maris was the most popular route, where not just slaves was delivered into Egypt coming from Israel, but goods as well. Okay, and the King's Highway, that was the other route, the two most popular routes. So there's no way that those slaves that were sold during 70 A.D., there's no way they fit the prophecy in Deuteronomy 28:68, because Deuteronomy 28:68 says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So you can't take that prophecy there and tie it in with 70 A.D., because they were not delivered into Egypt from Israel by ships. They were delivered into Egypt from Israel via the roadway, the Via Maris, or the King's Highway. A ship didn't have anything to do with it. Okay? A ship did not have anything to do with it when you correctly research. Okay? So this Egypt is talking about the modern day Egypt, which is America. And these ships are talking about the cargo slave ships. Because the Lord would bring us into Egypt again, or our forefathers rather, into Egypt again by way of ships. Okay, and not only that, we would be yokes of iron would be put on us on those ships, and you can find that in the 48th verse of the same chapter, Deuteronomy 28. Furthermore, I had did a video earlier this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning, somewhere around that time, proving that you don't need a ship to go from Egypt to Israel, or from Israel to Egypt. You don't need a ship. Okay, and Joseph and Mary proved that. I went into a little of that history. Joseph and Mary came from Israel, fleeing into Egypt, fleeing the wrath of Herod, because Joseph was warned in a dream by the angel to take his wife and his firstborn son, to take them to Egypt. And Joseph didn't need a ship to get there. Okay, they went there by caravan. They went there by either mule or donkey or horse. Okay, my best guess is either mule or donkey. They went there. Okay, that was a popular form of transportation back then. A mule, a donkey, a camel. And you don't need a ship to go from Israel to Egypt. So that is more proof that that could not be talking about Deuteronomy 28:68. Okay, but without further ado, let's play a little of Elder Pastor's video, and then I'm going to see if I can find Elder Yawakanan's video and play a little bit of that, where he goes into that history. It's about, in Elder Yawakanan's video, it's about the 10th minute going into the 11th minute. And like I said earlier, when I was working out at the gym, you know, I just hit the treadmill, that's it, you know, to keep everything toned and keep that blood circulating. Circulation is key, man, and my circulation ain't that great, so, you know, I got to stay on that treadmill. Part of it's not just, and I do the biking as well, so the biking, the treadmill, the walking, and watching the diet, between those three things, you know, keep myself in some kind of shape, you know. All right, so enough of me, let's get into it.
He said it's got to be talking about another Egypt. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy 28, what does it actually say? What does Deuteronomy 28 actually say?
And it is talking about, Deuteronomy 28 is talking about another Egypt. It's a dark saying. All right? Which that modern day, America's known as modern day Egypt. Even a dime store scholar knows that. Because America carries the symbols of, all the symbols of ancient Egypt. What you call a Washington monument, that's not a Washington monument. That's an Egyptian obelisk. Why don't you call it what it really is? The IJ came from Egypt. The IJ didn't come from George Washington. Okay? As a matter of fact, the very word monument is called Washington Monument. The word monument means to remember. It was erected to remember what? Egypt. And all you got to do is a little research. You find out that these presidents, beginning with the very first president, so-called president of the United States, George Washington, they all were devotees of Egyptian masonry. Facts. Research it. Okay? They were all into Egyptian Freemasonry, all right, which is witchcraft. So come on, man.
So we are leaving Revelation 1 because they wanted to try to prove that Jesus had woolly hair. And now we're going to Deuteronomy 28. By the way,
he did have woolly hair. He certainly didn't have stringy hair like the image of Serapis Christus. He did have woolly hair. He does have woolly hair. Okay? You just can't get over it. You're hoping that he looked the one you call Jesus, he looked like Charles Manson on drugs. That's what you're hoping. Well, he didn't.
We proved it. We proved it.
Wait. If Hebrew Israelites of the One West variety are right, they believe that Hispanics and Native Americans are Israelites, right?
They are. They are. Hispanics, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans are Israelites. Matter of fact, there's a book called, I wonder if Vocab even knows about that book, The History of the North American Indian by James Adair, which was a so-called white man from Scotland. Right? He went into the history of the so-called North American Indian. He lived among them for many years, and he came to the conclusion, based upon their rituals and their ceremonies, he came to the conclusion that they were one of the lost tribes of the nation of Israel. So now what, Vocab? And this is from the book History of the North American Indian by James Adair. And do you know, it's kind of hard to get that book, and that book is very expensive. Okay, because it goes into the truth that the so-called North American Indians are part of the lost tribes of the nation of Israel. All right, they're part of the 10 tribes, the northern kingdom that came over here around 722 BC, 724 BC. They're known as the tribe of Gad. Okay, let's move on.
Hispanics and Native Americans, generally speaking, have woolly hair.
Some of them do.
Yeah, like Elder Pastor said, some of them do. Some of the so-called Hispanics have woolly hair. What are you talking about, Vocab? Some of the so-called North American Indians have woolly hair. A lot of the so-called Cherokee, members of the Cherokee Nation, got woolly hair. We got brothers in the faith right now whose background is that of so-called North American Indian that have woolly hair. And if they should hear this video, if they should hear this video, they can put their comment in the comment section. All right, so either Vocab is incredibly dumb, stupid, or once again he's playing dumb. Either he's incredibly dumb or he's playing dumb. Okay, That was not a bright statement that you just made there, dude. Let's say that again.
Israelites of the One West variety are right. They believe that Hispanics and Native Americans are Israelites, right? Do Hispanics and Native Americans, generally speaking, have woolly hair?
Some of
Dude, can you imagine he asked that? Do they have woolly hair? You got so-called white, hold up, man. You got so-called white people that have woolly hair. Hey, my man, the painter, I forgot his name. Bob Ross, is it? Bob Ross. Let's take a look at Bob Ross. All right, Bob Ross, the American painter. Look at that. Look at Bob Ross. Look at Bob Ross. What does that look like? It looks like woolly hair to me. It looks like he got an afro. Okay, so what is Vocab's point? Bear with me for a minute. So, yeah, you know what? I'm supposed to meet up with Bishop Sakaran. We got something going down Tuesday. You know, we go live Tuesday. So let me go from here. All right. All you got to do is watch this video. Okay, this video here. And you'll hear where Vocab said that Deuteronomy 28:68 is talking about the slave trade in the slaves that were being sold from Israel going into Egypt around the time of Titus Caesar. But however, they were not delivered to Egypt by ships. They were delivered to Egypt by roadways, the Via Maris and the King's Highway. That is the information that that the brother from, as a matter of fact, let's play a quick video here. This is Elder Apostle Ramlam, and he did a video nibble on that Vocab. He did a video of the brother Elder Yawakanan going into it. It's only
spiritually called Solomon.
That's Elder Yawakanan's voice. It's only 53 seconds long, so check it out.
Egypt, 2868, by ships, 70 AD.
Nibble on that, Vocab.
After destruction,
Let's start off by saying Barakateh Hawa, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Ruchakudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Nibble on that, Vocab. This is the brother from, this is GMS Babylon is Fallen, the brother out of England. 70 AD Israelite slaves sold by Romans using the Via Maris trade route connecting Egypt and the Levant.
Did you get that? And again, in Elder Yawakanan's video, that's the history he goes into. 70 AD Israelite slaves being sold into Egypt by Romans, which is what Vocab says that was the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28:68, which he's deadly wrong on that. It says 70 AD Israelite slaves sold by Romans using the Via Maris trade, which was a highway running parallel, inside joke, parallel to the sea. That's why it was called Via Maris, which literally means by the sea, by the way of the sea. It was not a ship. It was animals that were being used on that roadway, namely mules, horses, donkeys, that were used to transport slaves from Israel going into Egypt, okay, by the Romans. That was a roadway, not a ship. The Via Maris was a roadway, not a waterway, okay? The term Via Maris literally means by way of the sea. You were following the route from Israel into Egypt by way of the sea, but you was on land. It was a roadway. And the other one was the King's Highways, the King's Highway, okay? That's what Elder Yawakanan goes into in his video, okay, which totally destroys Deuteronomy 28:68, according to Vocab's breakdown. Totally destroys Vocab's breakdown, that information, okay? Let's hear that one more time.
all in, the brother out of England. 70 AD Israelite slaves sold by Romans using the Via Maris trade route connecting Egypt and the Levant.
That's right.
So you want to go check this out. The brother goes into the trade routes of the Romans, going up into Egypt, going up into Syria, Mesopotamia, so on and so forth.
Right,
Very
from
interesting. Shalom.
Yes, indeed, very interesting. And what it does, it destroys Vocab's breakdown of what he thinks Deuteronomy 28:68 is talking about. Okay, that information which Elder Yawachanan went into destroys Vocab's breakdown, because he thinks that's talking about the Romans selling Israelites from Egypt, or rather from Israel into Egypt by ships, like it says in Deuteronomy 28:68. Nope. The Via Maris and the King's Highway were two roadways leading into, like you heard Elder Apostle Ramlap said, leading into Egypt, leading into Assyria, etc., etc. Okay? So, there you go. So, with that, I'm going to end the video there. I wanted to make it longer, but, you know, I just got a message from Bishop Sakuran, so got to get ready for the live video we're going to do, the live class we're going to do, that we normally do on Tuesdays. So, without further ado, I'll say shalom and see you in the next one.